Hi friends, so today is Tuesday, March 24th. We miss you so much and we hope that you're having so much fun at home. Today with me, we are going to be making this cute little penguin. You guys have all the stuff at home, so what we're gonna do is you guys have this at home, the penguin that doesn't have anything on it, and you have orange paper, black paper, and white paper. What you're gonna do is you're going to rip it up into little pieces. So I'm gonna do the black first. We're gonna put glue all over the penguin's body so that it sticks because the penguin's body is black. If you look at these pictures, this is kind of what we're making. The penguin's body is black with white on its belly, an orange beak, kind of something like that. So I'm gonna start ripping the black pieces of paper up so that I can stick it all over the penguin's body. And you can rip big pieces or littler pieces, whatever fits onto your penguin. And you're gonna do that all the way around the whole penguin so that his whole body is black. And then, when you're all done covering the whole thing in black all over there, you can take some orange and put some glue on his beak and his flippers. And you put the orange down there. And when you're all done, your penguin should look like this.
Awesome. Now, guys, you're going to be using this fun penguin that Miss Aubrey made, or the ones you make, for a few of your activities today. So your little penguin, Aubrey, what should we name him?
Bob.
Our penguin Bob is going to come bob himself on over to Mr. Matt.
Yeah, Bob the penguin.
For our math
Did you know,
activity.
guys, that Bob the penguin doesn't fly? Penguins are birds that do not fly. Now, their what looks like wings are actually flippers, okay? And they only live at the bottom of the earth. They live in the southern hemisphere, okay? So where our polar bears yesterday lived at the top of the earth, our penguins live at the bottom of the earth, okay? Now, usually Bob would love to eat fish, but Mr. Matt ran out of goldfish, so he's gonna eat the next best thing. He's gonna eat some craisins, okay? So we're gonna learn a little about greater than and less than. Okay, so, and guess what? You guys can kind of still bob snacks after you're done with this, okay? So it's okay. You can still bob snacks after you're all done. Okay, so Mr. Matt has some craisins, okay? And I'm going to put out, let's say 1, 2, 3 on this side of Bob, okay? And I'm going to put out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 craisins on this side of Bob. Okay, so now Bob has to decide. Bob is super hungry. Which one would Bob want to eat, guys? Probably 5, right? Because Bob's super hungry. So now we know that 3 is less than 5. Okay, so if you remember our alligator mouth, right? Our alligator mouth is always open to whatever one that they want to eat, okay? So whichever one is more, okay? So 3 is less than 5, okay? All right, let's do another one. Let's see. And then you guys can come up with your very own ones. Maybe you do one that's super tricky and is equal to, and Bob has to really make a tough decision. Okay, so we're gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 craisins on this side of Bob, okay? And on this side, we're going to put 1, 2. All right, so now Bob has to decide which one is greater than, guys. Okay, so you're right. The 6 is greater than the 2. So 6 is greater than, okay, remember your alligator mouth, greater than 2. So now our alligator mouth and Bob is going to come over here to eat our 6, okay? Now, the other one that's weird sometimes, guys, is if we have 3 on this side and 3 on this side, we don't have greater than or less than, we have equal to, because it's the same on both sides, okay? But we have that one is greater than that side. Okay, so there's your greater than and less than with our friend Bob the penguin.
All right, Bob, you want to come over and see Miss Megan for our science activity?
Have fun, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay guys, I'm back with Addie and Bryn and Bob, the penguin. So, just like the polar bears, when it's so cold, the penguins have to stay warm too, and they're always in and out of the water. So they have oil all over their feathers that makes the water come right off their body so they don't get quite as cold. So to show you guys what that's like, you're gonna take a plastic bag. We have a cup of water with blue food coloring or whatever food coloring happens to work for you guys. So we're gonna add some water to our bag, and this would be like what the penguin would be swimming in when they're trying to catch fish or try and get food or whatever. And then the oil is like what's on their feathers. And oil and water don't mix together. They have different polarities, so they don't mix, they separate. So you guys can see the oil won't mix with the water for very long. So we're gonna close this up, and we have some duct tape to make sure that this, you guys can really play around with this, but it's not going to spill all over everything. I'm gonna make sure this is duct taped closed, just to be safe. Okay. So when you feel like you guys are not going to get oil everywhere, you can shake it around and you see all the little bubbles, that's all the oil, and it just separates right from the water. So when the penguins get out of the water, the oil on their feathers is going to push this water right off because the water and the oil doesn't like each other. Can you see that? So Bob will be nice and warm with all the oil that's coating his feathers.
Perfect. All right, we're going to take Bob right over here back to Mr. Matt to tell us about our literacy activity today.
Okay, so my friend Bob is going to help me with a storytelling activity, okay? So we remember in our stories we have characters. Maybe one of our characters could be Bob the penguin. Maybe there's a polar bear in our story. Okay, maybe its name is, I don't know, you guys come up with a really fun name. My polar bear is going to be named Pete. Pete the polar bear, okay? So we have Pete the polar bear and Bob the penguin. Those are our characters. Next thing we need to try to come up with, if we remember, is a setting. So a setting is the place where our story happens, okay? Now, since a polar bear and a penguin usually wouldn't meet in the wild, Mr. Matt's going to have this story take place in the zoo. Because maybe in a zoo, a penguin and a polar bear would meet, okay? And then we need a plot, so the thing that happens. So in this one, maybe Pete, the polar bear, and Bob, the penguin, are trying to escape the zoo to go do fun things, okay? So in this story, we're going to have our plot, which is them escaping. And we have our characters that are Bob and Pete, the polar bear. And then we also have our setting, which is the zoo. Okay, so you can come up with your very own story too that it's kind of like this, but Mr. Matt might make up a story like, once upon a time there was Bob the penguin and he had a friend at the zoo named Peter Polar Bear. Okay, so Peter Polar Bear and Bob the penguin kind of got sick of being cooped up in the zoo. So one day decided to make a plan, kind of like what you saw maybe in Madagascar, the movie, right? And so they came up with a plan on how to escape from that zoo. So one night when it was dark and all the zookeepers went to sleep, since Bob was smaller, he slipped through the bars and helped unlock the door for Peter the polar bear. And both of them went out and they roamed through the town. They had a party. They ate ice cream. They had all kinds of fun stuff until they got up in the morning and they realized it wasn't as much fun outside the zoo. So they went back to the zoo for the night. Okay, so that is an example of an awesome story, okay, that you guys can come up with your very own. But remember, in your stories, you need characters, okay, which are the people inside the story. You need a setting, which is the place where your story takes place. And you also need a plot of the things that are happening inside that story. So, again, guys, thank you for coming to Activity Time today. And it's another fun day. Hopefully you enjoyed making polar bears yesterday, and you'll have tons of fun doing all our activities with penguins today. So until tomorrow, guys, we'll see you later.